She thought her boyfriend was the love of her life until she found out he was actually her sister catfishing her for revenge over a childhood secret their parents thought was long buried. Elena Roberts was 17 when she met Jason Carter. It all started in a private Facebook group for indie music fans, one of those niche communities where people shared underground playlists, album leaks, and late night rants about how the mainstream just didn't get it. Jason had messaged her after she posted about a rare vinyl she found at a thrift store. His tone was flirty but not pushy. He said he admired her taste, asked about her favorite bands, and the next thing Elena knew, they were messaging daily. Within a week, it felt like they'd known each other forever. He said he was 19, lived in Chicago, and was taking a gap year before college to figure things out. He claimed to be into art, music, and social justice. His profile pictures were blurry enough to seem mysterious, but cute enough to spark butterflies in Elena's stomach. She loved the way he typed, funny, confident, but also tender. Every night, she waited for his goodnight text like it was a ritual. What made Jason even more irresistible was that he listened. When Elena ranted about her overbearing parents or her popular but toxic older sister Miranda, he validated her feelings. When she cried about feeling invisible at school, he told her she was special. I see you, he wrote once. You're like the hidden track on an album. Not everyone finds it, but the ones who do. Never forget it. It was exactly what she needed to hear. Elena had always lived in the shadow of her older sister, Miranda. Miranda, with her perfect grades, cheerleading captain badge, and Instagram model looks. Their parents adored her, or at least that's how it felt. Miranda was the golden child. Elena was the moody, artsy one, too weird, too sensitive, too complicated. Jason made her feel like she wasn't complicated, just misunderstood. They started seeming, but Jason always had an excuse not to turn on his camera. Bad lighting. Broken webcam. I hate how I look on video. Elena pushed, but never too hard. She wanted to respect his boundaries. And besides, the emotional intimacy they shared felt deeper than anything a camera could show. They shared secrets. Jason told her about his anxiety, his parents' divorce, his fear of being unlovable. Elena opened up about her self-harm history and the time she almost ran away from home. They became each other's safe space. 3 months in, Elena was convinced she was in love. Do you think we'll ever meet in person? She asked him one night. Jason replied, soon. I want to. But there's something I need to tell you first. But the confession never came. Instead, the next day, Jason disappeared. His account vanished. His number stopped working. Elena's heart shattered. She spent days crying. She skipped meals. Her grades tanked. And the worst part? She couldn't tell anyone. Not her parents. Not even Miranda. How do you explain falling apart over someone you never really met? That night, she posted a long, emotional message on Reddit under a throwaway account detailing her heartbreak. Just to get it off her chest. Just to feel seen. She had no idea who would end up seeing it. A month after Jason ghosted her, just as Elena was starting to accept that maybe she'd been catfished, he came back. An Instagram DM. From a new account. No followers, no posts, just a single message. I'm sorry, I had to leave. Can we talk? Jason. Her heart dropped. She stared at the screen, stunned. Is it really you? She wrote. He replied within seconds. Yes. I know I hurt you. I had to disappear for a while because I was scared. I found something out about myself. Something confusing. I didn't know how to tell you. She didn't need to read further. She forgave him instantly. Love does that. It erases logic. It fills in holes with hope. They talked all night. Jason said he'd been dealing with gender identity stuff. He said he might be trans but wasn't sure how to navigate it. Elena, being the empathetic soul she was, only embraced him more. She felt honored that he trusted her with this. She was his person. But things started to feel different. Jason had new quirks. He typed differently. Used words he never used before. He no longer knew their inside jokes from the earlier months. He claimed to have memory issues from emotional burnout, but something about it gnawed at her. Still, Elena convinced herself it was just trauma. People change under stress, right? But then came the night that changed everything. Elena was scrolling through Miranda's Instagram while bored. Miranda, as usual, had posted a flawless selfie caption, just girly things. But it wasn't the photo that caught Elena's attention, it was a comment below it from someone named G. Carter 91. It read, "Always a queen." Elena's heart skipped. G. Carter 91? She clicked the account. It was private. The profile photo looked familiar, like one of Jason's old ones, but with a filter. She stared at the username, feeling the cold dread rise. She copied the handle and searched it on a username checker site. The results were interesting. The email attached to the handle ended in MirandaBirds91 at Miranda, her sister. Elena couldn't breathe. She went back to the Jason messages. The way he typed. The phrases. The sudden interest in beauty products. The jokes about cheerleading. The sudden memory lapses. She was talking to Miranda. Her own sister had been pretending to be her boyfriend for months. Her fingers trembled as she opened Miranda's bedroom door. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she shouted. Miranda looked up from her vanity, unbothered. "What are you talking about? You're Jason. You catfished me. For months." There was a pause. And then Miranda's smile vanished. "So what if I did?" Elena's world collapsed in a single sentence. Elena stood frozen in her sister's doorway, disbelief and betrayal curling in her chest like smoke from a burning house. Miranda didn't even try to deny it. She just sat there, legs crossed, eyeliner sharp, smug expression intact, as if what she had done wasn't a psychological nightmare. "You ruined me," Elena whispered. "Why would you do that?" "I trusted you with my life, Miranda." Miranda leaned back and crossed her arms, letting out a slow sigh like she was bored of the drama. "You're so dramatic, Elena. I didn't ruin you. You were already falling apart before Jason. I just gave you a place to put it. You manipulated me. I told you things I've never told anyone. You pretended to be someone I loved." Miranda stood. "And you think love is that easy? That some guy texting you at midnight is real love? You're so desperate for attention, you'll fall for anyone who tells you you're special." Elena flinched. Tears were pooling fast in her eyes, but anger pushed them back. "What did I ever do to you?" she cried. "Why would you go that far? What kind of sister does this?" Miranda's eyes flickered, and for a brief moment, something cracked in her mask. Her voice lowered. "You want the truth?" she said bitterly. "Fine. You stole everything from me. And you don't even remember it." Elena blinked. "Stole what?" "Mom and Dad. Their love. Their attention. You act like I'm the golden child, but you don't know the full story. You don't remember the years they doted on you while I was shoved into therapy." Elena shook her head in disbelief. "What are you talking about? You've always been their favorite. You're the one they brag about at dinner parties." Miranda turned away, her shoulders tense. "When we were little, when you were 6 and I was 8, you lied. You told Mom I hurt you. You said I pushed you down the stairs." Elena's heart stopped. "What? You don't remember, do you?" "Because you were lying," Miranda snapped. "You scraped your knee running around outside and made up this stupid story. And Mom believed you. She dragged me into therapy. Dad yelled at me for weeks. I was grounded for the entire summer. I lost friends. I had to explain to teachers why I wasn't allowed to go on the field trip. And for what? So you could get sympathy for a scrape?" I was 6, Miranda," Elena said, voice trembling. "I don't even remember that happening." "Well, I do. I've remembered it every damn day." Elena's knees went weak. She leaned against the doorframe. "Years of being told I was aggressive, manipulative, like something was broken in me," Miranda continued, voice rising. "You were the innocent baby sister, and I was the problem child. All because of one stupid lie you don't even remember." Elena's stomach turned. Her mind raced, trying to summon even the faintest memory of that moment, but it was blank. Nothing but fragments of a blurry childhood, scraped knees, and tangled doll hair. "I didn't know," she whispered. Miranda looked at her then, and for the first time, her eyes weren't cold. They were filled with pain, with something Elena had never noticed before: grief. That's the thing, Miranda said, quieter now. You never know. You just live in your little bubble, floating through life, thinking the world owes you softness. Meanwhile, I've been clawing my way back into this family. So, catfishing me was your revenge? Not just revenge, Miranda said. I wanted to show you what it feels like to be betrayed by someone you trust. To love something that isn't real. To cry in the dark and not know why you're hurting. The room fell silent. Elena didn't speak. She couldn't. Her brain was a tornado, spinning memories, doubts, guilt, and fury. Had she really lied? Had she been the reason Miranda spent years in therapy? Was this whole thing really her fault? No, she whispered to herself. That doesn't justify this. Miranda walked past her, brushing her shoulder. You can tell Mom and Dad. Go ahead. But just know, you're not the only victim here. And then she was gone. Elena collapsed on her bed and cried until her chest ached. Not just for the boy who never existed, but for the sister she never really knew. The next morning, the world outside continued like nothing had changed. But inside Elena's home, everything was different. At breakfast, Miranda acted like nothing happened. She poured her cereal, scrolled through her phone, and even hummed to herself. Elena, on the other hand, sat across from her, eyes sunken, appetite gone. Their parents were too busy arguing about taxes to notice the tension. Elena thought about telling them right then, blurting it all out, exposing Miranda. But something stopped her. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was guilt. Or maybe it was the tiny voice in her head whispering, what if she's right? She kept quiet. That day at school, Elena floated through the halls like a ghost. Her friends noticed something was off, but she brushed them off with a fake smile. How could she explain any of this? My sister catfished me pretending to be my boyfriend to get revenge for something I don't remember. Who would believe that? That afternoon, when she got home, there was an envelope on her bed. No name, no writing, just a plain white envelope. Inside was a photo. It was old, faded. A little girl, Elena, was standing at the top of the staircase, a bandage on her knee. In the background was Miranda, sitting on the floor with her arms crossed, tears in her eyes. Behind her, their mother stood with a face full of rage. On the back of the photo, scribbled in Miranda's sharp handwriting, were 5 words. Still think I made it up? Elena's hands shook. She rushed to the attic, dug through dusty boxes until she found the family photo albums. She flipped through page after page: Christmases, birthdays, school plays. And then she saw it, a tiny caption under one photo. Summer 2012, right after the incident. Elena closed the album, breath catching. The memory began to trickle back like drops of rain through a crack in the ceiling. She'd been running in the backyard, trying to copy Miranda's cartwheel. She tripped, fell, skinned her knee, and when Mom asked what happened, Elena, terrified of getting in trouble for playing without supervision, blurted out, Miranda pushed me. She hadn't meant it to ruin anything. She was scared. She was 6, but it had changed everything. She called Miranda. I remember, Elena said softly when she picked up. I remember what I said. Silence. I'm sorry. Another pause. Then Miranda said, too late for sorry, isn't it? Elena felt her throat close. Maybe, but you still hurt me. I know, Miranda said. Her voice cracked for the first time. I just wanted you to see me. I do now. There was a long silence between them. Neither of them hung up. That night, Elena sat at her desk and opened a blank document. She titled it, The Sister I Forgot. Then she began to write. Everything. The childhood. The lie. The pain. The betrayal. The healing. She didn't know what she'd do with it. Maybe she'd never show anyone. But for the first time in months, she felt like she was starting to take control of her story. The days that followed were fragile. Not quiet, never quiet in the Roberts household, but fragile, like walking across glass barefoot, unsure if the next step would slice deep. Elena and Miranda didn't speak much at first, but the war between them seemed to pause, like both sisters were too emotionally exhausted to keep swinging. Their parents still hadn't noticed the shift. They floated through their routines, oblivious to the earthquake that had cracked their daughters apart, and maybe that was the saddest part. One night, Elena found herself staring at Miranda's bedroom door again. The last time she'd stood there, everything she thought she knew about love had collapsed. But this time, her heart wasn't full of rage. It was full of something softer, wounded, but willing. She knocked once. Miranda opened it slowly, surprise flickering across her face. Yeah? I wrote something, Elena said. It's about us. Miranda raised a brow. Us? Yeah, I didn't post it or anything. It's just for me. But I want you to read it. Miranda hesitated, then stepped aside and let her in. Elena handed over the printed pages. Miranda took them silently, curled up on her bed, and began to read. Her eyes scanned the words, slow, methodical. The silence stretched. Elena sat on the floor, fingers tangled in her hoodie strings, heart pounding. Halfway through, Miranda paused. You remembered the dollhouse? She asked. Elena nodded. Yeah, I remembered how I broke your favorite doll and blamed it on the babysitter. Miranda snorted softly. I cried for, 2 days. You really loved that doll. I really loved you, Miranda said quietly. Elena looked up. I know I went too far, Miranda said, folding the papers in her lap. The catfishing thing. It was messed up. But I was so angry. And lonely. It felt like you had this perfect world inside your head, and I was just this extra character in your life. You're not an extra, Elena said, voice trembling. You're the main character of your own story. I just never read it. They sat in that silence for a while, the kind that's not awkward, just necessary. Miranda finally said, I still don't forgive you for the stairs thing. I don't know if I ever will. I don't expect you to, Elena said honestly. But I forgive you for Jason, she added, voice low. If you're ready to forgive me. Miranda bit her lip. Her eyes shimmered with something that wasn't quite sadness, but wasn't peace either. I don't know, she whispered. But I want to try. That was enough. Later that night, Elena walked into the kitchen and found her mom loading the dishwasher. Can I ask you something? Elena said. Her mom smiled. Of course. Do you remember that time when I said Miranda pushed me down the stairs? Her mom's smile faltered. Why do you ask? I think. I made it up. Elena admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I was scared. I didn't mean to lie. But I think it changed things for her. Her mom stood there, frozen, hand holding a dripping plate. Elena, that was a really long time ago. I know. But I need you to know. I need her to know that I'm sorry. Her mom set the plate down. She walked over and cupped Elena's face gently. You were a child. Children make mistakes. But the fact that you remember now, and that you care, that says a lot about the woman you're becoming. Elena felt tears burn her eyes again. This time, not from pain, but from relief. The next few weeks weren't magical. There were no grand transformations. Miranda still rolled her eyes when Elena talked too much. Elena still slammed her bedroom door when she got overwhelmed. Their parents still misunderstood them both in the ways only parents can. But little things changed. They started watching TV together again, first with awkward silences, then with side comments, then with laughter. They shared playlists. Miranda even helped Elena with her makeup for prom. Don't let any boy mess with your head, Miranda warned, brushing glitter on her cheeks. And if he does, I'll pretend to be someone else and catfish him into therapy. Elena burst out laughing. It was the first time they joked about it, and it felt healing. That summer, Elena posted her story on a teen mental health blog under a pen name. She titled it, The Catfish and the Confession. It went viral. Messages poured in from girls and boys who had been betrayed by siblings, catfished by strangers, or lived in the shadow of someone else's pain. People who had lied as children and carried guilt for years. People who were ready to start healing. Elena read each comment with a lump in her throat. She realized her story wasn't just hers. It belonged to everyone who had ever felt unseen. One day, Miranda knocked on her door. I read your blog post, she said. It was good, honest, brave. Elena looked up from her laptop. Thanks. Miranda stepped inside. You know what's funny? I always thought you were weak. Because you cried a lot. Because you wore your heart on your sleeve. But now, I think that's strength. Elena smiled. I used to think you were heartless. Miranda smirked. Well, I am a little heartless. They laughed. Later that night, Miranda sent Elena a song on Spotify. The message read, Not sure if it's your taste, but it reminds me of us. Elena hit play. The lyrics spoke of broken bonds, second chances, and two sisters trying to find each other in a world that never taught them how. And for the first time, Elena didn't cry because she was broken. She cried because she was healing, piece by piece, word by word, and, for the first time ever, with her sister by her side.